Hey, we're back in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. I am back in one of my favorite planes in this game. Although I don't know if I would really call it a game. I mean, I guess it is an entertainment product, so I guess it qualifies, but I like to think of it more as an actual simulator. Anyway, one of my favorite planes, the CT Superlight. I like it because it's simple, it's easy to operate, uncomplicated. It doesn't fly terribly fast either, so it gives you some time to look at things. And we are, as you may have guessed by looking ahead of us there, in Washington, D.C. Up ahead is Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport. The Potomac River is off to our left. And you may have noticed the Pentagon off to our right. So I'm going to come down here a little ways, and then I'm going to turn around. And we're going to take a little tour of the city and some of the more notable and iconic structures to see which have and which have not received the handcrafted treatment. So here's the Pentagon. And judging by how it looks, judging by my memory of seeing it in person a couple years ago when my wife and I were there, and pictures, this looks pretty accurate. So I think that the Pentagon has been given the handcrafted treatment. So you can see the Lincoln Memorial off to the right there. We'll get to that in a couple minutes. But first we're going to fly back along the Potomac here. So up ahead of us in the middle of the river there you can see an island. That is Roosevelt Island. For those of you who are a fan of the Marvel MCU movies, that is where the Triskelion is located in those films. The headquarters of S.H.I.E.L.D. In real life, it's an island that's mainly covered with trees. And that's pretty much what it looks like in real life. Just off my right wingtip, you'll notice a building that has kind of a curled shape. That's not... It's kind of what it looks like in real life. The shape is kind of more or less accurate. But that is the Watergate Hotel Complex. And if you don't know what that is, well, just look up Richard Nixon. And you'll find out all about it. So we're flying along, and this is like a waterfront area here. And we are about to cross over Georgetown. My wife and I were here a couple years ago. We stayed in a small hotel in Georgetown. I am actually just about to fly more or less directly over it. And it was a great time. Georgetown's a great place to stay too if you want to visit the city, because you're kind of away from the main city proper. But there's a lot of cool places. There are some lovely restaurants in the area. Lots of shopping. And you're not that far from a whole lot of other things. I recommend getting set up with the transit pass. That's what my wife and I did, and it came in so handy. You could take the bus, we could take the metro, which is the underground train system. And you can go pretty much anywhere. So we're going to fly back over the Watergate Hotel Complex here, back towards the mall. And you can see the Lincoln Memorial up ahead here. Now looking at it, it looks like the Lincoln Memorial has been given the handcrafted treatment. I'm not going to do it in this video, but I did take the drone camera down and take a look inside the memorial proper to see if it's included a representation of Lincoln's statue. They did. It's not a particularly accurate one, but it is there. So clearly somebody took the time to make one and put it there. I'll leave it up to you to take a look for yourself if you decide to pick up a copy of Flight Simulator and visit Washington, D.C. So I'm about to fly over where the Jefferson Memorial is, that sort of circular building right in front of me there. That clearly has not been given a handcrafted treatment because the building doesn't look anything like that in real life. The bridges, though, off to our right, actually aren't too bad. They are low bridges like that across the Potomac. Unlike some of the other bridges in this game, they are not underwater. So, I mean, clearly either somebody took the time to put, to note or to alter them or, craft them so that they are at the right height above the water. Or the automated system did a better job than it has done with some of the other bridges in this game. So off to our left is the mall proper, and my left wingtip is currently right over the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum. There's a lot of the Smithsonian museums along here, but that one in particular was the one that I think is particularly appropriate to call out given what we're doing. My left wingtip is now over the Capitol building, and as you can see, that one was auto-generated because it looks nothing like that. Something notably missing is the rotunda and dome. Back to the Air and Space Museum. My favorite thing there, I think, would have to have been the Wright Flyer, which is where it all began. So we're going to turn here and fly back down the length of the mall down the other side. Take a look at some more things. And there's one thing in particular I wanted to point out. Those of you familiar with the layout of the mall and where certain things are, you will notice that there's something very, very wrong. So up ahead of us and just to the left is a tall, slim structure. That is the Washington Monument, which of course looks nothing like that. So clearly that was auto-generated. So the algorithms clearly knew there was a building there but had no idea what it was actually shaped like. And in fact, if you look on the ground in front of it, you can actually see an image of the Washington Monument on the ground. So clearly the texture applied to the ground here is one taken from the satellite or the aerial photo. And then I'm going to turn around and take a look at one more thing. It's a good time because the sun's starting to go down. It's a little after 6 p.m. in Washington. So right there, just off my right wingtip, that is the White House. And again, as you can see, it looks nothing like the real thing. Now, over time, I expect that the situation will improve. Like, if you look at these buildings off to the right, they just look like sort of blank concrete. Oh, actually, that's texture pop in. Okay, so it's probably more my video settings. Well, no, actually, yeah, there's still a lot of them are just sort of blank. No real textures. But yeah, as I was saying, I'm hoping that over time, more and more of these buildings will get the handcrafted treatment and become more accurate. But for now, as you can see, some of the stuff looks good, some of the stuff looks okay, and some of the stuff doesn't look good at all. There's the White House again. And the East Wing and the West Wing. So we'll go ahead and curve back over here and head back over towards the airport. Come in for a landing. Go ahead and switch to the internal view. Now, I didn't bother to trim or anything like that. That's why you see I'm kind of all over the place, because I'm moving the stick quite a bit. Of course, when you're flying around and turning back and forth like that, it doesn't really matter that much. Let's see, where's the trim set? And it's about there. This plane doesn't really... It has a very simple interior. Okay, go ahead and slow her down. Put down one notch of flaps. Okay, so you can see the approach to the runway. See those two sets of lights off to the left of the runway, just past the blinking light? So that is the, I remember it's the VASI system. So it means that I'm too high, so I need to cut the throttle, bring down more flaps. And it's okay if I'm too high of the proper glide slope, because this is a really long runway. There we go. The top one turned red. That means I'm on the glide slope now. Now it means I'm too low, but I'm so close to the runway it doesn't matter. Pull back. Flare. Nice. Do my rollout. I don't know why it wants to pull to the right like that. Go ahead and hit the brakes. Come to a stop. And there we are. This concludes this tour of Washington, D.C. in Flight Simulator 2020. Thank you for watching.